please welcome Chair of the National Endowment for the Arts, Maria Rosario Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. I like call and respond. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the National Endowment for the Arts, I am so delighted to welcome you, all of you, joining us here in our nation's capital, as well as those of you joining us via live stream at arts.gov. We gather today to honor the 2024 class of NEA Heritage Fellows. These distinguished fellows demonstrate lives dedicated to the preservation, advancement, promotion, instruction, and mastery of their art forms. Their commitment to their art forms and traditions help us all lead more artful lives. The NEA is grateful to our partners at the National Council for the Traditional Arts, especially Executive Director Blaine Wade, Madeline Ramez, and Becky Hill, as well as documentary filmmaker Olivia Marion and her team at Hypothetical Films. Thanks are also due to our folk and traditional arts team at the NEA, as well as other NEA colleagues who, through their vision and hard work, have made this evening possible. NEA staff, please wave. Thank you. To our newest class of Heritage Fellows, please know that your work is evidence of the strength, diversity, and vitality of perspectives that help to create the American cultural tapestry. Each of you carries a deep knowledge and understanding of your communities of practice and those you represent, as well as a special awareness of the importance of these living cultural traditions. We feel so fortunate and are just thrilled to be able to dive more deeply into your stories through 10 beautiful documentaries premiering tonight. And we're grateful to be in conversation with you. Thank you. And now, please join me in welcoming to the stage our host for this evening, Jake Blunt. Jake is an award-winning performer and interpreter of Black folk music. He has performed at venues including Carnegie Hall, the Library of Congress, Newport Folk Festival, and NPR's Tiny Desk concerts. And his writing has appeared in Rolling Stone, Paste Magazine, and many other venues. Jake, welcome.
Thank you, Chair Jackson. It's an honor to be back here in my hometown and here at the Kennedy Center. Tonight, we're going to enjoy something really special together. Ever since 2020, the NEA has created beautiful short films to introduce us to each year's National Heritage Fellows, the work that they create and the places where they make that work happen. These films help us understand the breadth and depth of these artists' impact. Tonight, we'll watch these beautiful films together, and then we'll get the chance to briefly meet each artist. I'm very excited about this, and I hope you are too. Our first fellow is tap dancer extraordinaire, Bril Barrett. Let's take a look.
When I put my shoes on is when I'm the closest to God. When I'm dancing, I'm literally working the world around me out. The dance is the processing mechanism for thought for me. I didn't think about that until I said it, wow. My name is Bril Barrett, and I am a tap dancer. I am from the west side of Chicago, a community called North Lawndale. We were not financially well off at all. I first got into tap. There was a school called the Sammy Dyer School of Theater, and my mom and my aunt and my uncle got together and kind of was like, we're gonna send all the kids down there. The more I tapped, the more I loved it. But even that was all routines. I was in schools learning technique and routines. And then I met Mr. Taps performing in the subway. I immediately was like, I want to do that. And I had no qualms about walking up to this strange man, asking him if I could dance with him. And I think it probably took him aback a little bit at that time. And then he said, yeah. So I started street performing with Mr. Taps in the subway at like 8 years old. How crazy is that? Because I didn't know what improvisation was, I would go out there and try to do what I learned. So I would take that time step out with Mr. Taps, and then I forgot the break. And I say, what do I do? He said, just make something up. And I say, and then right back into the time step. I still don't remember the break. Well, make something else up. Well, I don't remember what I just did. Well, do something else. So eventually the something else and the I don't remember and the in-betweens got longer and longer till I was creating the entire solo out of my head, out of my space, out of the rhythms that, whatever, that the universe fed to me. We would have footage night. And so we tap in the subway, make our money, we go to his house, he'd order pizza, and then we'd sit down and watch old movies, old VHS tapes. I was lucky enough to start meeting some of these historical figures while they were still alive. These legends knew that everything they had gone through would be for nothing if the art form didn't live on beyond them. They immediately put me in the mind space of passing tradition on. So then I turned around and started to teach it. So let's do, that's fine. You be on the outside, Trey. And Charles, you there. And Denise, you're there. I started Mad Rhythms January 2001. Mad means making a difference dancing. So Mad Rhythms literally is using tap dance to make a difference. So let's go around. Name a tap dancer and name the tap dancer that you're gonna most think of tomorrow. Let's go, history.
The Nicholas Brothers.
The Nicholas Brothers, why? I never knew that becoming a tap dancer was gonna make me an activist of sorts, or as I like to say, a taptivist.
I see Bril as like a father figure to me. He taught me the importance of the history, the importance of improvisation, and he's really what inspired me to take this art form and continue on with it and expand upon it and make it my own.
Tap is an African diasporic dance form, through and through. Through music, enslaved people learned how to communicate. Old Negro spirituals were how they basically plotted the freedom routes. And when it was discovered by the masters of those plantations, everything that produced music started to be taken away. They would produce music with their bodies, and that's where you get body percussion and hand boning and tap dancing. All right, come on. Go ahead, go have a seat. Tap is an expression of resistance, and it always has been. Thank y'all for coming out. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here. I think this is our 5th annual Juneteenth celebration. We love being able to celebrate our history, our culture, and our fathers all at the same time, because that's our history and our culture. So come on up here and get in your places, y'all. We'll give it up for Mad Rhythms. To see these young people out here, to see them tap dancing, to see the joy when they put on the shoes, when they perform, I relax a bit because I'm like, the future of tap looks good.
Please welcome to the stage Please welcome to the stage from Chicago, Illinois, Bril Barrett. Congratulations. It is such a pleasure to be speaking with you. Man, I feel like we could talk for hours about everything you just said. So we don't have hours. Okay. I'm going to get right to it. Improvisation is a huge part of tap dance, and of course, therefore, a huge part of your teaching. What do you think these kids are gaining from learning to improv?
I think the young people are learning a language, a way of expression, a way of processing, navigating through life, because improv teaches you to stay on top of your thinking, your mentality, so you never know what to expect, so you're kind of prepared to expect any and everything. And I think that applies well beyond the art of tap dance. When I think about the original Hoofers, they were in Harlem, and they weren't, like, this dance had no steps. It didn't start off with names or titles, they just danced. And the way you learn from somebody is by stealing their steps and then by trying to make it better and making it your own. And that kind of rule is, I think, allowed each tap dancer to be an inspiration to the other tap dancer. And that is how this art form literally was passed down, continues to be passed down. We do choreography and all those things, but improvisation, I think, especially for tap dance, is still at the heart of making music that your emotions allow you to make. Tap dancers are the only people that make the music we're dancing to at the same time we're making it.
Amazing. So we had a conversation before where you talked about building a community around improvisation, around tap dance. Can you tell me a little bit more about the community you've seen emerge?
It's a beautiful thing when, like, competition is a natural thing. So to be competitive is just a part of nature, but it doesn't have to be a negative competitive aspect. So I think the cipher, which is what we call every time tap dancers to get together, have a tap jam, have a whatever kind of interaction it wants to be, the cipher is built upon positivity in terms of, yeah, we compete, but we're competing against our own standard more than the standard of those people around us, but we still are taking the inspiration. So having young people who sometimes may be used to dealing with conflict in negative or violent ways find tap dance as a means and a method to then become conflict resolution, to teach them social, emotional learning skills, then they become not only great tap dancers, but they become great people.
Amazing. All right. Thank you. That's all the time we got.
Thank you.
Bril Barrett, everybody. We're now going to venture from the Midwest to the far Northwest and learn a little bit about the music of Mr. Trimble Gilbert.
It does help my life. I just play fiddle for people. If they like it, it's good. But they don't like it, that's all right with me too. I was born 1935, probably 75 miles from here. I was born in a tent, and then I grew up as a Basque traditional person. So when I was a kid, we don't really settle one place. Gotta be out there hunting, fishing, trapping, different places, different locations. But before Christmas, everybody come together. Always big celebration going on. people dance maybe one whole week, and they never get tired. I see a lot of fiddle. When I was 16, the big thick catalog came in from Sears. There's everything on it, a lot of fiddler. That time, only way people make money is trapping. A lot of lakes up that way, lots of muskrat. So I sent muskrat skin to this Rubik and I ordered fiddle. Takes a long time to wake. I remember my mom and other old people talk about when that fiddle came into Fort Yukon. There are a lot of native people play everywhere. European bring in that fiddle with them, but Athabascan, we play different.
I always like the joke Grandpa tells, he says we're a noisy family, and I really believe that.
French-Canadian fur trappers brought with them a unique type of fiddle music. As Gwich'in people, we're very proud of who we are, and so we took the fiddle sound, but then integrated that with our traditional stories about ducks or rabbits or the land around us.
This time we're going to play the duck dance.
We are Caribou people, all 15 villages. And when they were forced to be colonized into village life, they chose this place because the caribou migrate through this valley. I grew up with Trimble. He gave us a lot of good times dancing, and he gave us a lot of prayers. All our songs and all our dance are prayers.
Just to play with him was special. Try to copy him as much as I could. It's different because he's so good.
Fiddle music it attracts people. The sound of it it's a blessing.
Gwich'in Leo, then Juju Lee. And that's why it's a Gwich'in Lee. Then Juju, like me good say. About one person and we ate them. This is my village. The young people, they ask me, how old are you? Don't worry about my age. I'm old, you know that. But I can't stop.
Please welcome Mr. Trimble Gilbert to the stage. Congratulations. Please have a seat. There you are. I'm so excited to talk to a fellow fiddle player. Mr. Gilbert, one of the things you and I have talked about is the healing power of music, and I wonder how you've seen that play out in your own music-making journey.
Okay, the music is a very important people for anyone. Like you could see the village where I live, and we've been there thousands of years, and so we get together sometime, and some people have health problem, or either some people can't walk, and a lot of people have problem with sickness. That's a nationwide problem. But sometimes they don't get to the place where it's a gathering at. And then some of them blind, and when I start playing, people want me to play and to have a fun. And we get found out it's helping a lot of people have problem. Sometimes it's power, healing power. And I've been watching the video. One place is all the elder gathering. They come together, and there's a lot of them use crutches. And then one old man came in, and he just barely walked. And then the fiddle players over there, he started playing, and he just put his crutches away. And then he get on the floor and he told people to dance square dance. So when he was there and he just, I thought he won't make it. I don't think he's going to dance. But he just put crutches away. He get up and he start calling square dance. So he danced about 30 minutes more than probably hour, he was dancing around. So that healing power is among the people, and I know my mother was blind, and my father, he's a square dance caller. So that's where I interested to play fiddle. So I self-taught. And then my mother was blind. On sometime the winter time, short daylight. I know my mom and dad come in, and then they pretty soon when the Red River jig, I started playing, and my mother was blind, but she was on the floor, and she danced with my father. Sometimes we start late evening, around 8 or 9, and then a lot of time I've been watching my mom and dad going home 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's people really love to dance, and some people kind of have problem that they never get involved with anything, just stay home and a problem. And then sometimes when I got response from the people, when I played everywhere, I've been invited playing different community in different places. And then sometimes people never showed up in the dance before, and then they come in and you start joining a group. So even though people are having a problem with alcohol, and alcoholic people, sometimes we teach them, they taught themselves playing fiddle, and then they quit drinking. So that they recover from the alcohol. And also that some people have different kind of problem, but they've been healed. Sometimes I don't feel good, but when people come in together, big gathering, and people told me, you're going to forget about your problem. So that after about an hour, then I start dancing and I start playing. So it does help many, many people in our country. And like one of the ladies, she's living in Cordova, she invited me to play with her probably 18 years. I've been traveling around the community, different community. So my wife is with me, and a few other people help us doing that very important program. We call that Dance with the Spirit. So when we get into the new community, and I start recognize people are very happy to see what's going on, and then many of them, they've been recovered, and then they've been waiting for the next trip we're going to be there. So that's going on for about 18 years. I've been traveling around with that different community in the state of Alaska. And we visit school, and we've been working with the kids. You know that square dance is about 40 to 50 people dance in that big hall. And then I seen a lot of little ones. And the boys and girls, they wanted to dance, so they dance with adult people. So that's what happened at home. And pretty soon, the last few years, and there's no more alcohol in our village. We know that alcohol is a problem. So one of my grandsons is here. He was a chief, and he's doing real well with his job. I'm really proud of him. So more and more, we do need more and more to help in our countries, and where I live in the state of Alaska. So one of the reasons we're doing that is we know we love each other. The life is very important to us, so we don't want people suffer with alcohols and other kind of stuff. So we kind of talk about it all the time, and we try to help people and the children. We know that alcohol is a problem. When the kids going to school, their parents is drinking, and it's hard for the kids. We learn that, so we've been using that traditional way of life for thousands of years, and sharing is the number one in our country, and we help each other with what we get. So now alcohol is a tough situation, but we never give up, and we stand together and try to help the young people for the future generation to come.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Great to talk to you. I'll take the microphone. Do you need a hand? Do you need a hand? You're done. Okay. Thank you so much. Trimble Gilbert, everybody. All right, thank you. Well, we've gone from Midwest to Northwest, and now we go on to the Southwest to hear some wonderful music from Rosie Flores.
I've been doing this my whole life. The music bug has been there since I came out of the womb. I think my first cry probably had a melody to it. This cat's in the doghouse. This cat's in the doghouse. This cat's in the doghouse. Never gonna let him out. I was born in San Antonio in 1950. Then we moved to San Diego when I was 11. I started learning guitar when I was 16. 16 to 74 is how long I've been a musician in a band. I chose music as part of my life because it was feeding my creative side, and it was something that I was passionate about. And I saw bands on TV. I saw jazz singers in black and white, in the 50s. And I was just enamored watching somebody like Peggy Lee sing, or Julie London, Ella Fitzgerald. And I was just, wow, look at how amazing these women are that sing. And I wondered if I could ever do that. I want to get behind the wheel and drive, just me and a hunk of steel. I started going up to LA and playing the Troubadour in Hollywood, which I ended up moving to LA because there was so many opportunities, because I went as far as I could in the San Diego area. I started hanging out in the Palomino country scene and started doing the talent contest every week. 6 months later, I started winning. It was like, oh, people like what I do. I'll keep going. When I was starting to play at the Palomino Club, I was doing a lot of rockabilly back then and had my little white cowboy boots and my sparkly cowboy shirts. And I dressed a little more like 50s country and in a lot of fringe. And I would do, songs by the Collins Kids or Elvis Presley or Janis Martin and Wanda Jackson. So they started calling me the Rockabilly Philly. And so when I did that album, I titled it the Rockabilly Philly. I just wanted to play the troubadour and play in real places. I wanted to hit the big time. I wanted to be around people like John Prine and Bonnie Raitt and Linda Ronstadt, the Eagles. I wanted to be around those people. Those were professionals. So I ended up opening for a bunch of those people. I lived in Nashville, Los Angeles, and I always keep coming back to Texas. When I came back, Austin, Texas just threw its arms around me and said, welcome back. Through the years, I've been influenced by so many different kinds of music, from jazz to blues, rockabilly, country. I believe, though, that those genres have a thread, which are the American roots music. The different genres helped shape the kind of music that I do now. I think that's why I have different passions for different sounds, and I'm just not satisfied at being just a country artist with a twang with 3 chords, or just a rockabilly artist.
Great to be here at Seaboy's Heart and Soul, the heart of Austin, Texas, y'all.
On my paper, sad words on my mind, from tears that fall down one string.
Performing live is just a real jolt for me. I connect with my audience, I look into their eyes, and I sing to them. I like to put joy in people's hearts with live music. But the real reason that I've been there this whole time is because I'm so passionate about it, and it feeds me and it makes me feel good. like to think that my music would be carried on and that, other generations would find a song that I wrote or a style that I had that influenced them. And, much in the way that I was moved by Peggy Lee and Julie London, and how I was moved by the guitar stylings of Jeff Beck, these people that aren't here anymore.
The childhood memory.
I'd like to carry on their tradition and what they've started. And I would love to look down from heaven one day and say, wow, that girl sounds like me. She's doing what I used to do.
I got the chills.
Please welcome Rosie Flores to the stage. Have a seat.
You look so cute.
Oh, you look so cute. You've been cool forever, huh? Okay.
I just love his suit. Let's hear it for his suit. How is everybody?
Okay, so I have 1,000 questions to ask you, but I'm going to do the one that we talked about before. You name-checked a lot of really incredible musicians in that film, people that you looked up to, who inspired you. Among them were a number of really famous and incredible women musicians from the 20th century, and some who are still with us today. And I wanted to ask you, because we know that those women had a hard time being recognized as musicians, and especially as instrumentalists, do you feel, as someone who's faced the same uphill climb, a sense of community and lineage with other women musicians in the same way that we've been talking about community and lineage the rest of the night?
Yes, I do. And there is a camaraderie that I feel with a lot of the female musicians I've met. Some of them have made the big time, and some of them haven't made the big time, but there's no difference to how much talent they have and how much they inspire me and support me. And there's a lot of females that support each other because we grew up in a time where it was all male musicians. And so we had to kind of like be better so that we could get respect in the industry. So I remember when I was in my first band, a boy here or there would say, wow, you're pretty good for a girl. And I was just kind of thought, he doesn't know any better because he just hasn't seen any women play guitar. So it's been really cool to work with other musicians like Cindy Cashstaller, Sarah Brown, Kathy Valentine from the Go-Go's. There's just, Ruby James. There's so many really cool musicians that I can write with and create music with. And I've had so many all-girl bands, but I play with guys now because I love that too. But I'm still, in kind of a girls' club with all the females trying to hold ourselves up and try and get respect from the other male musicians. And I think we're doing pretty good about that, don't you?
I think so.
Thank you.
So real quick here in our last seconds, you told me that you teach guitar lessons to other women for free as part of this girls' club, as part of lifting each other up. Can you tell me what that mentorship experience has been like for you and for your students?
Well, I think we need more women playing guitar. I think we could use a bunch more women. And so when I meet somebody that says, wow, I'd love to learn guitar from you, then I say, come over to the house, I'm not going to charge you. And they kind of go, what? They're not used to that. And it's not that I have a thing against men, and I won't, because I've taught them, like I'll teach my nephews for free. I don't care about the money when it comes to teaching guitar. You know why? Nobody charged me. And I learned from my friends and my cousins and my neighbors and high school people. And so I don't really look at it as something I should make money from. I get more joy out of seeing somebody pick it up and do something with it. And that's very gratifying to me. It's up there with producing somebody's record And because I produced Wanda Jackson's record, and well, it was my record, but she sang on it. Yeah, let's hear it for Wanda Jackson. She was an NEA winner. And Janice Martin, I produced her last record too. So it's just gratifying to work with women that you can teach each other things, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Rosie Flores, everybody. Take that microphone back. Thank you so much. Congratulations. A true rock star. I have a lot to learn. Well, we're going to continue our journey through the Southwest, travel to Sheep Springs, New Mexico, and learn a little bit about Susan Hudson's masterful quilting.
I want to acknowledge my ancestors, what they had to do to survive for me to be here. Somebody has to talk for my ancestors. Somebody has to talk about the things that happened to us. The boarding schools, the long walk. So I do my quilts, I do my art because I was gifted this. And I'm going to stand up and I'm going to be loud. I'm a contemporary ledger quilter. Quilting for us Navajos is not traditional. It was something forced upon us. My mother was forced to quilt in the boarding schools, so she handed that down to me. Original sewing machine, right here, it's been with me. Been quilting almost 60 years now. I thought it would work out good. And when I started having my kids, I realized if I made quilts, I can sell them. So that was my way of making a little bit of money. Former Senator Ben Niles Campbell, we made a trade for some quilts because he was going to have a giveaway. And then he was telling me, he goes, hey, your stuff's kind of boring. And I'm like, what? And then he says, think outside the box. Don't think what everybody else is doing. Think outside the box. What do you really like? And then that's when we started talking about ledger art. If you look in history, if you look at the pictures and stuff, it's a story. It's about war, it's about birth, marriages, falling in love, the death of somebody. And we adapted to use whatever material was in front of us. This is when that little light bulb went on in my head. I liked the adaptability, the colors, and it was somebody's story. And I could relate to that. And I said, that's what I want to do. I did this for this lady because she had also lost her mother. Part of that process, the morning, waking up like it's a dream, but then just screaming my heart out wherever I was, whether I was even driving in the car, pull over and just scream. That agony, and even my divorces weren't that bad, but that's what I did. So I did it all in the nighttime because that's when you can be yourself at nighttime when there's nobody around. The importance of quilts is there's always a story behind that quilt. The first one I made is on the long walk. The second one is on the missing and murdered indigenous relatives. And the next one is on the boarding schools. I wanted to bring voice to the voiceless, to tell them how resilient we are as Navajo people, that we're human. This is our land. These are our people. I took that and I forced people to listen to what I have to say because I'm speaking for them. I make a quilt millions of people are gonna see that quilt, and millions of people are gonna learn about my story. And especially, they're gonna give a voice to my ancestors and to my mother. That's why I tell those stories. A lot of times when I'm working on something, I can feel my ancestors with me, with the women right there. They're the ones that guide me to where I need to go. They'll be telling me their stories, and I know I'm not alone. I want my children, my daughters, and my granddaughters, and my descendants to carry on the stories and to stand up and say they are Kianis.
Please welcome Susan Hudson. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Please have a seat.
Yate, Susan Hudson, Nishle Kiani, Nishle, Destiny Bashashin, Tabahada Shachain, Nakaida Nationali. I'm going to speak to you guys all in a foreign language right now. It's English. I want to do a land acknowledgement. I want to honor the ancestral indigenous peoples whose lands we walk upon here, that came here and with their creation story. So thank you.
Thank you. Susan, you've explained to me that quilting was something that was forced on your community during the horrific boarding school era. You've made this craft your own, though, despite some resistance to your way of doing things. You've chosen to forge ahead. As you put it to me, you're forcing a change. What is the change?
The change is, first of all, I was born a woman. I was born a Diné. And I took the stories that my ancestors, well, actually my grandmothers and everybody talked about, the atrocities that they suffered in the boarding schools. I took that and I took that to another level. I wanted to honor them. I wanted to tell their stories. I wanted them to know I cared about them. I want my descendants to know that I cared enough to keep the story going. So 200 years from now, when my quilts are still here and I'm no longer here, they can go to the museums or to wherever the collectors have donated them and see the quilts and know the story. We have to tell our stories. We have to take back our lives because of the genocide and because of us going to school and some white person telling us our stories. I'm going in class and some white person is telling me, this is your history and this is the way it is. That's not right. So I'm gonna take it back and I really don't care. When I have my quilts, I have various people come up to me, whether through their ignorance, lack of knowledge, or just plain stupidity. They want to take me on and ask me, what is your story on the quilt? And I will tell them the story on the quilt. And they go, no, this is what I think. And I go, I don't care what you think, because you're not going to disregard or, disrespect my ancestors. And especially, you're not going to disrespect my mother that went and had those atrocities, the horrible things that happened to her, and all the children that went to the boarding schools. I'm not going to let that go. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to speak for us, and I don't care what you guys say. You guys, this is our stories. This is our land, and I'm going to do it because these young girls, these young boys, they need to know our stories and our struggles. And not only for us, for other indigenous people around the world. So I'm still here, I'm still gonna make the quilts, and I know what I'm doing next year, and people aren't gonna like it.
I'm gonna love it.
I'm gonna love it too.
That's our time.
Huh?
That's our time.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Okay.
Susan Hudson, everybody.
Thank you.
Congratulations. icon after icon tonight. Well, we're going to keep rolling with that and explore some fantastic textile art, this time from Cambodia.
Sochietah, he is preserving the art and the culture that was lost. You can't get it from anywhere else. He's someone that I look up to.
We really try to absorb the knowledge that he gives to us.
He is the expert, the one that knows all of it. He's a pillar to the community.
I'm born in Cambodia, but actually I've been in the United States longer. I see all the new generation. I want them to remind them how beautiful the country before everything. During the genocide, they killed more than 2 million people. I decided to escape from my country to the United States as a refugee. That's the reason I get here. So when first I come to the United States in 1979, they have a dance group here, they do the opera. Somehow one of them cannot dance last minute, and they asked me to fill in. After that, the prince in Cambodia, she come to tour in US. She need an Apsara crown. We decided, go ahead, try to make her one. She tried 3 crowns on, and she liked mine the most. The prince want wear your stuff, of course you're very happy. So I started making a lot of costumes and crowns. This costume make about 30-some years ago. So sometimes the gold might fade away a little bit. So we want to test out, make sure they look good. I'm a workaholic. I like to keep myself busy. For the past 45 years, 50 years, I make more than 1,000 crowns. I make jewelry for the dancer too. I also make the outfit for the dancer. The costume very important. You go back time. When I make a costume, I'll be picture in my mind how the crowd will look good, how the costume will look good in the dancer. A good dancer needs a beautiful costume. Both go together.
So you let me know, okay? I was born in a Thailand refugee camp. So to me, I feel like my identity is displaced. Learning dancing, learning the craft with Sochietah, it really helps me identify that I'm really Cambodian, I'm here, and these are my roots.
Now that I'm dancing, I feel more connected to my culture. I feel like I'm really myself, I'm in my element. I don't want the culture to be lost. As we come together as a community and work together, we can try to revive it.
Generations to come, we're gonna have to be able to take that with us and just learn it and pass it on.
In Cambodia, we lost a lot of stuff. All the culture, all the art, all the house, all the clothes. My students that I teach, I want to help them to make sure they do the right way. In the Persian camp in Cambodia, I meet a foreigner dancer. We thinking we go die soon, so we daydream. Say, if you get out, what's the first thing you want to do? And I told her, first thing I do, I want to have a good food and decent clothes to wear. Next day, she asked me, how about we make a promise to each other? If I can get out, I go eat for you, dress for you. If you survive, can you dance for me? I say, okay, I will dance for you. For the person who passed away, I will go fill the void for them. Keep the dance going. Because it not belong to me. It belong to Cambodia, it belong to the country, it belong to the art.
Please welcome our neighbor from right here in the Washington, D.C. area, Sochietah Ung. Welcome. Please have a seat. It's great to talk to you. Sochietah, thank you. In the film, you spoke about using your craft to help fill the void left by those who died in the genocide. This is healing work, and I want to know how you see that healing going for survivors of the genocide like yourself and for the next generation who are growing up in the aftermath.
I'm very happy that things going well now, because right now more young generation students, more dancers, they want to learn dance, and more dance group pop up. So at this point, I'm very happy. Only one thing is because a lot of dance group, they have the money to buy all the costume, but they learn it from YouTube dancing. So they learn it, but they can do it, but they're missing a lot. Because mostly do the costume for each dancer, it takes about 45 minutes to 1 hour to show the dancer. And a lot of people, they buy the costume from Cambodia, they don't know how to put it the right way. So I would like to make a program, ABC program. So most of the dance group here, they can do from A to C, but they forgot about B. So the B is very important. That's why I think my next project, I want to do that. Go back to the beginning, when I first came to the United States, I traveled different states to teaching dance. So I want to do again, because right now a lot of new dance group here, and they have money, they have costume, they have dancer, so more easier to helping them to collect with. That's my dream. Next one.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Sochietah Ung, everybody. Congratulations. Our next honoree is organizer and educator Pat Johnson from Pocahontas, Arkansas. Let's learn a little bit about her.
When people ask about Pocahontas, the first thing they will ask is, where is Pocahontas? And the next question is, oh, I didn't know there were any black people there. At one time, there was a large amount of black people that lived here. But through the years, they migrated and left and went out to other places to get a better living. They helped build Pocahontas. But you can't find a lot of things that is marked that they done or where they were. You can walk through and you can see markers of the Civil War, markers of people that were here, but you see no markers of the enslaved people that were here. So I always wanted to know more about where we came from. And that's when I decided to start a museum. We have a lot of history that needs to be brought to the front. And that is what the Eddie Mae Herring Center has been able to do. This building has a lot of history. I was a child that attended school here in this building that was segregated. And back in the day, there was not a school for the black children to attend. So the community came up with a contract with the public school for this church to be the black school for the children. I started to school when I was 6. It was from the 1st grade to the 8th grade. And Miss Eddie Mae was our school teacher. She was real creative. We would have classes like French classes, or we made a television on this big roll of white butcher paper. She tried to basically teach us everything that she felt like we needed to know. She not only taught us, but she taught our parents at night. She was just a wonderful teacher. She didn't have any children, but we felt like we belonged to her. And so when it opened in 2001, we changed the name to Eddie Mae Heron Museum Center. Our mission is to educate. Oh my goodness, I'm getting all choked up. This is a project that no one can do by themselves. It takes a community, it takes everybody that has the interest. So before this law changed, the public school brought children here every year. But now we have not been able to have students. So those are the kind of things that I'm saying, why we have to keep on getting our history together and preserving it. We are always working together with the people in our community. And since 2010, we started the Juneteenth activities. That was before it was a national holiday.
Anybody wants to sing, just start in.
And it's kind of like a big block party. I'm proud that we were able to bring it to a small town and have gobs and gobs of people to come and participate.
I am so proud of everybody.
I've had many people to say, do you ever stay at home? I do, but I'm out in the community too, every day.
This is just wonderful. It's really giving us an uplift. And I hope everybody's having a good time. All right.
We have been open now 20 plus years, and I'm hoping to be able to pass this on for the younger generation. I'm hoping they are watching and they are seeing how important this building and this organization is to the community and keep it going. Because it's not only just African American history, it's American history.
Please welcome Pat Johnson to the stage. Congratulations. Here you go.
Hello, Pocahontas, Arkansas. Look what we have done. We are in Washington, D.C. at the Endowment for the Arts. And we have done this through the community. So put your arms up.
Okay, I love the hometown shout out. Can you tell us a little bit about Pocahontas?
Yes, I'd love to. Pocahontas is a small town, but we do big things. We have a lot of community activities, and we are a community that you don't have to lock up everything. Probably should. But we don't. We have neighbors that are around and they keep up with what's going on at your places. It is also a town where we can go to church without fear. We also have children, our families, we raise our children and our kids can run up and down the roads and the sidewalks. So it is a town that is very friendly. And we have, I want to tell you some of the things that we have. It's like we have a community college there that has brought in many activities and many classes to help our young people in the community. So it's a town that you could feel very comfortable in if you wanted to be in a small town.
Gotcha. Well, we talked about this earlier, but my late grandmother, Doris May, taught kindergarten in a segregated church school, just like the one Miss Eddie May taught in. So I know a little bit about what it's like to try and step into shoes that big. And I see what you're doing, trying to honor Miss Eddie May's legacy there and help pay it forward by educating your community the way that you do, morning, noon, and night. And I want to know, what is so important to you about sharing that history? What drives you to do that?
What drives me to do it is to keep it going. I want the next generation to continue to tell about the history. I attended that school, the one-room class, one-room school, and during the time that I attended school, the laws were different. It was a segregated school. And there were people in the community that did not even know that we were there segregated at that school. So that was the time I thought, that history needs to be taught. It wasn't talked about. Didn't mean that it was bad, but it just wasn't talked about. And so after the schools integrated, which was in 1965, and that hasn't been very long, then the building was empty for a short time. It became an educational place again with a daycare center, the first Head Start Center. That was where they taught the underprivileged children. That's happened about 10 years, and then they left. And so the building was left just decreasing. And so I felt like we were going to lose our history if we did not try to preserve that building.
And you stepped up.
And we stepped up.
Thank you so much for doing
Thanks for the community. The community helped me to step up. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Pat Johnson, everybody. Thank you so much. You did great. You did great. Congratulations. Well, next we have a journey into the fascinating world of carousels, courtesy of Ohioan craftsman Todd Goings.
I love the feel of a sharp chisel through wood. That's what kind of caught me early on. Even in high school, I knew I wanted to work with wood. Carousels was never in a thought, oddly. For some unknown reason, I don't know why, the carousels are what picked me. Every carousel has its own personality. It feels a certain way, it floats through the air in a certain way. It affects people in a certain way. The decorative carvings, the mechanics of the machine, the gears, the motors, you smell the oils and the grease, the dirt and all that kind of stuff. Popcorn, cotton candy. You're hearing the band organ, the lights and the glitz, and then the people. They see their favorite animal or their favorite color, takes them back to a time period that was simpler in their life. When you put all that together, that makes a carousel a carousel. The craftsmanship brings us to that. I started my own carousel company in 1993. I've traveled all over the country working on all kinds of carousels. I'm fortunate enough to get to see about 20 to 25 a year in varying degrees, from minor adjustments to restoration on the animals, mechanical repairs, moving them around, disassembling them, reassembling, getting them back up and running. There was never any books written on how to carve carousel animals or how to take care of your carousels. So it's really having to figure all that out. Carousels in the United States started in the mid-1860s with an imported carousel from Germany. And from that one carousel, everybody started producing carousels. The golden era was the 1920s, when it was kind of at its glory. From the late 1860s till the late 1920s, there was estimated to be a little over 5,000 to 6,000 carousels in the United States. Of those original carousels, we're down to about 150. To be a good carousel craftsman, you need to really spend time doing restoration, because that's where the true art form lies. The gears and cranks that make all this stuff go up and down and round and round, that's kind of all hidden by the facades and the figures. We just can't go out and get parts and pieces. So that's where we look at restoration of not just the animals, we look at the restoration of the mechanics as a very important element. I hold in high honor the original carousels, but want to build my own as well and push that art form. You always want what you create to be able to go past you as an individual. That's why I think carousels are bigger than me. Where it kind of blends out into here, to get this right.
My dad, he really is the person that a lot of carousels call when they're having problems. Growing up, seeing all the different carousels and being around them, it's a huge part of my life.
Where that is, where this knuckle is here.
My dad's built the company for the last 30 years and been doing all the work to keep, I don't even know how many carousels running at this point. There was never really an expectation that I was going to have to come back and take over. It was more a choice of something that I wanted to do, keep the memories being made.
What I want to be is just a good woodworker, a good craftsman, trying to carve what's inside of me. It took me a long time to realize that when I looked around after all the years I had already been in it, that I guess I'm a carousel person. It's not a stepping stone or a building block. It's where I was supposed to be.
Let's all welcome Todd Goings. Brought some fans with you. It's good to see you. Congratulations. Thank you. So, Todd, one of the things that's so interesting, there's a lot that's interesting about this. This was the video I texted my mom right away. I was like, did you know this is a job? This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Wonderful.
We get paid to go around in circles, isn't it?
I feel like that sometimes, but it doesn't look as good. One of the things that's really fascinating about the work that you've shared with us is that you work on every part of the carousel, right? You're not just picking one specific system or component. You're working on the mechanics, you're working on the carvings, you're working on the painting, every piece. What feels important to you about doing it all?
Well, doing it all was because it's, to me, carousels are a living, dynamic piece that people get to interact with. You get to climb on the carousel, and if it doesn't go around, then it's just a piece of wood carved fancy. So we like to fancy all that up, but also all those gears and pieces and parts that, we like to build all that stuff. We learn from restoration on how to build the new stuff, how to take care of it. Like I said in the video, there was no books written on this stuff, so we had to figure it out, and still continue to.
So you're reverse engineering.
We are doing
how to build all these parts.
To do that, to build our new carousels and make our designs and things like that, and the restoration.
Wow. Now you're passing this craft down in your family, and I wonder what it feels like to know that you're bringing your son into such a unique profession.
Well, yeah, it certainly has come full circle. To learn a trade like this and be able to be fortunate enough to learn it myself, and then to be able to pass it down to anybody, I was happy for. But then in the last few years, my son has come in, and I'm very proud to be able to pass it down to him, and hopefully it'll go farther than that.
Oh, I think it will. Thank you so much for talking to me. Congratulations. Great job. Moving from one colorful display to another, let's meet Fabian Debora.
Art is a powerful tool. It can make you or it could break you. Growing up as a Mexican American, you come to learn that somehow you're not Mexican enough, but you're also not American enough. So for me, the Chicano mural movement, it's about the whole picture. We paint the truth. As a kid, I remember walking around the city of Boyle Heights. That's when I started to see these large-scale murals. And I would just stare and get lost within these walls. And that was the introduction to the Chicano mural movement. So what I do is I paint it in increments. I paint layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, until I get to the top, which is fun. I grew up in the projects. It was very rough. When I started to lose my father to the violence, drugs, and addiction, disturbances would take place in my household. But I remember I would go and hide under my coffee table, pick up my notebook, and I would begin to create my own worlds to escape my reality. For me, art was my refuge. In Los Angeles in the 80s, the gangs were at their highest peak. It's very difficult for a teenage boy to grow in these environments. And when you're hopeless, you fall for anything. I joined the gang at the age of 12. It was the worst mistake I ever made. My life flipped upside down. I was stuck in a revolving door of suffering and pain. In and out of incarceration, from juvenile hall to adult prisons. See the pain again, trying to free himself. When I was in jail, I would just keep drawing. In 1994, I was only 17 years old. They wanted to give me 3 years in youth authority. Father Greg Boyle, the founder of Homeboy Industries, shared to the judge that I do have a talent. They said, okay, find him a location. I didn't know what to expect. I walk into this beautiful studio. I was like, what? Why are you been all my life? Those murals that I saw as a kid, Now I'm in the house of the master painters. East Los Streetscapers are the pioneers, Chicano murals. And they embraced me. Regardless if I was a gang member, they saw me for me and my gift of art. I made a decision to just start creating bodies of work. Murals are a portal, a window into dimensions of knowledge and wisdom and struggle and story. And we have to make sure that we transmit this, pass it down. In 2008, I decided to build a school. I wanted to pay it forward. And so here we are now at the Homeboy Art Academy. The youth that I work with, they're already actively involved in gangs. It provides a place where they can begin to redefine their lives. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start winding it down. We're gonna start bringing ourselves to the center of the circle. We're gonna do a quick check-in as we usually do. I can relate, and I see myself a lot in them. You're in the right place. You're exactly where you need to be. Allow us to hold you.
I just turned 18, and before the academy, it was just in and out of juvenile hall or gang, a lot of gang violence. It's been about a year that I've been out. My life has done a drastic 360. Like, I don't have that father figure, and he is that father figure to a lot of people, for sure.
So don't be ashamed of your past. Embrace your past. The past is actually good to revisit at times for the lessons learned. So.
I didn't know I knew how to draw until I came here. I just started putting everything that I was putting into something else, and I just started drawing. I feel like I didn't have it in me, but I did. I just needed to be around people that want to change, you know?
All right, y'all, thank you. The higher the number on the H, the lighter. Not often do you see artworks reflective of the people in our community. You see the Renaissance, Baroque, but they don't reflect me. Why I focus on portraiture is because if I'm advocating for the people in my community and I'm painting images that reflect them, they feel seen and recognize that we are valuable. And that is what Chicano art is. Paint what you see. Paint what you feel. And everything else will fall in place.
Please welcome Fabian Debora to the stage. Huge congratulations. Thank you. So deserved. Here you are.
All right.
All right. So Fabian, in the film you spoke about art as a refuge and murals as portals. Is making that refuge of yours available to others part of what drives you to create these large-scale public works?
Absolutely. I think this lesson or knowledge has been handed to us for a way back. It's something that I discovered, and I think it's important for me as someone who has been given that opportunity and that access to be able to find myself through the power of the arts, that I take it upon as a responsibility. And my responsibility has been to help remove all stereotypes that have been placed upon the image of the gang member by utilizing the common themes of identity, culture, religion, and gender. And in that, the birth of the Art Academy was that refuge that I create so that these young men and women can have a place where they too can come discover their gifts, but most importantly, return to themselves. And I think that is the power of the arts, and that is the refuge that ignited from my own personal discoveries and my own transformation.
So you've spoken now a few times about the transformative power of art. And I want to know what transformations you hope will come from the work you're doing, from the work that your students are doing in your life and their lives and in the wider world.
I think, something that I've learned is that if we are present and we can give of ourselves and help one person at a time, then we can create a ripple effect that is going to help change and shift the world that we currently live in. But I think the transformation that I would like to see should not only fall on the hands of the young adults that I work with, but should also fall on the world that we currently live in. We got to continue to invite folks and challenge the notion that that we don't belong, in a sense, behind our past mistakes, but also challenge them to be able to shift policy so that they can help us create that access that is greatly needed for sustainability and longevity that can actually create the ripple effect that can make this world a safer place. So that is the transformation that I want to see, not only as individuals, but also as a world, to be able to embrace us as for who we are and help us make the world a safer place for sustainability, longevity, for new generations to come.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take that from me. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Fabian Debora, everybody. Next, we're going to learn about another of California's best and brightest, the music of Jun Kuramoto.
I feel koto music is the beauty of the long instrument, the resonance. It keeps you grounded.
The koto is the national instrument of Japan. It came from China around 700 AD. The koto's been my friend almost 70 years. It shared my life with me, and it's been through everything with me, the good and the bad. I was born in Japan, but we came to America when I was about 5.5 years old. When I first moved to America, I really missed Japan. I always wanted to go back. I always felt like I didn't belong. When I was about 7 years old, I heard the koto at an event. I fell immediately in love with it, and I begged my mother to let me learn how to play. That was my initial cry for my country to go back home. That was my song of heartbreak. This is my teacher, Kazue Kudo. She was very strict, and I have the same reputation as she does. I'm the meanest teacher around. In my early teen years, my friends used to make fun of me for playing grandma's music. They thought it was boring and when I tried to practice with them. And I was very hurt because they didn't like what I was doing. But I thought, well, if I could put this instrument in maybe more contemporary setting, that maybe the people will hear the beauty of this instrument and the beauty of the music, and then eventually dive into the culture as well. So when I was in college, I found a band called Hiroshima, and they were unusual rock band, kind of, avant-garde. And I thought, oh, these people will probably be more open to something weird like the koto. My dream was to introduce the koto to many, many people, just for the sound that, look at this instrument, isn't it beautiful?
The band's been together for over 40 years. It was one of the best things that happened to me. It helped me create my own voice. My teacher would say it takes 10 years to learn to play koto, but stringing the koto, it's a whole art in itself. In Japan, they have a koto stringer. For me, someone like who travels around the world, I have to string my own. It took me about 20 years to learn to string it. I take care of my instrument. I love it, I respect it, and that's how I teach it to my, students. I've been teaching for 50 years. Being Japanese American, for me to carry on this tradition is just as important as breathing. It's the koto who gives me the root to both Japan and here. It was my home. Not Japan was my home, but the koto was.
Please welcome Jun Kuramoto to the stage. Welcome. Congratulations. There you are. Jun, we've been spending a lot of time talking about music and community tonight, and we've seen through your film how music can reaffirm our ties to communities that might not even be physically present with us. One small community that greatly impacted your music making is your band. How did Hiroshima shape your sound and artistic practice?
Hiroshima was very important in shaping me. What I learned was that, number one, if you really want to be involved in a group or to really create something different, you have to empty yourself. Otherwise, there's nothing to fill. And it didn't come that easy. It was blood, sweat, and tears and many trials that I one day did let go of my ego and empty it, and then I was more open and receptive. So I learned to jam, learned to improvise, all these things that classical music did not teach you. So that was the beginning. But also at the same time, having a group Hiroshima with the name such as Hiroshima, that we've had a sense of responsibility to represent our community in many ways. And one of them was we also wanted to break the stereotypic image that we had, especially back in the 70s.
You've spoken about how you felt you did not have a path to follow as a musician, as someone who was trying to break those stereotypes. And I'm wondering what impact you hope that your work, Hiroshima's work, might have for future generations who now might have a path to follow.
Well, it's been very difficult, especially in the Japanese American community, because during the World War II, the Japanese Americans were incarcerated in concentration camps here in America, and they were Americans. And so, but then they were placed in a concentration camp. So it created a lot of conflict within our people and a dilemma of, do we be nice, succumb, or do we fight? But we have families here. And so what happens with that is it affects the generations after that they wanted to do more Western things because all the culture things were taken away, and many kotos, especially kotos, were buried. So to get the young folks to be involved, it's been a struggle, and that's why to have a group like Hiroshima was important, to make it more contemporary, hoping to get the children excited.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Jun Kuramoto, everybody. I'd like to now take a moment to thank our sign language interpreters, Miyako Villanueva and Paul Williams. Thank you also to Olivia Marion and Hypothetical Films. Thank you to all the staff of the NEA and the NCTA who supported the 2024 NEA National Heritage Fellowships events. Thank you to this grand John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. And thank you to Madeline Ramez from the National Council for Traditional Arts. We're big Madeline fans in here. Now for our final honorees, all the way from New Mexico, the Zuni Olla Maidens.
As a community, we always strive to show beauty in everything we do.
We don't dance with the pottery on our head until we ask for blessings.
It looks like we're kissing our pot, but we're actually ingressing, taking in the spirit of the pot. That's just our nature. It's
Giving thanks for everything that we receive.
Yeah.
Being a Zuni Olla Maiden is really special. History that we've learned is that centuries ago, our ancestral women, they would use pottery jars to carry water to their homes to use for daily tasks. There was a woman that wanted to find a way to showcase the art of pottery, so she asked the women if they could walk with them. And once they were able to balance and carry the pots on their head, she suggested that they dance with them. She asked my late grandmother to join. My grandmother performed for a while, and then she asked my mom to join. Well, she didn't ask my mom. She forced my mom.
Now all our group members, we're all related. We are in the 5 generations.
We've inherited a rich part of our culture.
I remember I joined the end of my 4th grade year when I was about 10 years old. I practiced a lot, and I walked around my yard with my parents' encyclopedia books.
I take pride in the fact that it's nothing but women, led by women, performed by women.
It's so, it's just such an honor. I don't want our culture to be lost in any way. I feel like it's important for me to stay a part of it so that I can continue to teach our younger generations in the family what being an Olla Maiden is all about. My aunt, everybody loves her dresses. You just feel like royalty when you're wearing them. That's right. My mother is Zuni and my father is Black. So I really struggled with finding where I fit into the world. My aunts blessed me with asking me to join the dance group, and it really was the start of me discovering my Zuni identity.
Oh, that's perfect, honey. Yeah.
Every cloth is an active prayer. Sash belts, dresses, manta pieces, embroidered pieces. Everything is a prayer.
We're a matrilineal society. We pay homage to our ancestral women. Having the culture, it really grounds you. And that's what Zuni has done for our family.
It's not just about family legacy. It's also honoring all the females here in our community and everywhere else.
To our ancestors, to my mom, to the future women who are going to become performing artists, I would like to say Ella Kwa.
You read my mind.
That's thank you in Zuni.
Please welcome the Zuni Olla Maidens. Congratulations. Congratulations. You're popular. Well, I'm first going to ask everybody to introduce themselves. I feel malicious handing you something right now, but...
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lanisha Dishta.
Good evening, my name is Lachey Harris.
Good evening, my name is Courtney Babilu.
Good evening, my name is Joy Dakai.
Hi, everyone, and that film always makes me emotional, so I had to cry. So my name is Juanita Idakai, and I'm very happy to be here tonight with all of you. Thank you.
Good evening, Koton Sunap Genakia. My name is Loretta Biuka.
Keshi Brianna Yamatiwa Leshina.
Koton Sunnak Genapkia. Good evening, my name is Corliss Idakai Babalu.
Good evening, my name is Kimberly Diwa.
Good evening, my name is Ashley Yamatiwa.
Ooh. Extra credit. Okay. So when I met you all last night, you placed great emphasis on the role women play as the linchpins of your community. Of course, we see a strong female lineage at work here in this very group, the only all-female Pueblo performing group. And I wonder how you think it affects people to see you all throwing down on stages where men are typically in the spotlight and women are too often sidelined.
I believe we've been successful in our performing dance group because of our family ties and our kinship. We are all always on the road together, traveling together, and what grounds us is the cultural traditions and the beliefs that we all share together as a group. We also embrace the knowledge that we have from our ancestors, and I think that as strong women, we can hold down in front of men. And we've proven that because we're here tonight receiving a prestigious award. Yeah. The one thing I do want to say is that we would not all be here unless we were well educated about everything in the world and also about our home and the life that we live as women together. We need to also continue to share our culture and our tradition with people that are not knowledgeable about Native American. We've had so many questions about where are you from? And when we say we're from New Mexico, we always get, and they'll start speaking to us in Spanish, and we have to tell them, no habla español. So that's one of our goals, is to share our knowledge, our culture, and our traditions so that people in our United States and throughout the world will learn about our community and also know that we're very unique, very special, and that we have strong women that are out there doing things, being successful, while also having families. Thank you.
I think we've made an impact within our community with the fact that we are an all-female performing arts group. And we strive to be strong, independent women. And there is the fact that we are role models. And a lot of our group is together because of our mom, our grandma, their grandma, my mom. Because she is the one, she's the reason why we're here. She taught us how to sing and how to dance and how to dress. And most of all, she taught us how to be good role models for our community so we represent our tribe and do it well.
All good, all good. Well, as one of our last words here tonight, I just want to know, because this is a family group, what does it feel like to be here with many generations of your family and to know that new generations are oncoming and will be part of this work?
I feel very blessed. I grew up in this dance group, watching my grandma perform since I was 3 or 4 years old. And I always joke that I was forced into this, but I'm blessed, actually, to be raised in this way and to be able to carry it on. I have 3 daughters at home, and I look forward to the day that they'll be next to me, performing and singing with me and traveling with me. And also for my niece, my 6-year-old niece, to join us and learn and just be a part of this family. Because not only are we a family through blood, we're just a family of dancers that have fun and travel and learn and share. And I can't wait to experience that with my daughters.
Thank you so much. The Zuni Olla Maidens, everybody. Thank you so much. And now, let's have a chance to meet these folks all at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the National Endowment for the Arts National Heritage Fellows Class of 2024. Bril Barrett. Fabian Debora. Rosie Flores. Trimble Gilbert. Todd Goings. Susan Hudson. Pat Johnson. June Kuramoto. Sochietah Ung. And of course, the Zuni Olla Maidens. Thank you, everybody. Travel home safely. Thank you so much for being here.